of it, whereas Drupal's got great tools for comment span processing. Or let's take taxonomies or tag clouds. They don't give you the opportunity to create sophisticated classification schemes inside of Jive. Drupal has long been used for people that are doing content management, which generally implies a category scheme so that you can tag it or classify it in some interesting way. Drupal has very extensive tagging and taxonomy capabilities. Jive doesn't. Or let's take a look at plugins. Jive is making a big deal out of the fact that they are saying, hey, we're going to have an app store for plugins to Jive. We've got some APIs that you can go do things to. And they've got, 30 or 40 of them now. Drupal's got 7,000 plugins. And it's an open system, open source, so that you can do anything you want. So at the end of the day, this is one of those cases where open source completely trumps proprietary. And by the way, I don't know, well, too bad you can't see that very well. You can't see it. This was a picture of the recent DrupalCon that we had in Chicago about 3 weeks ago. About 3,500 to 4,000 Drupal developers showed up in Chicago, and they were all techie. It was all tech all the time. It's always a love fest when you go to DrupalCon. They are a complete geek heaven, and all these guys get there and they just code and have a blast. If you're a geek, it's the thing to do. Drupal is not just a piece of software. It's a community itself. It's actually a rabid, passionate community about the success of Drupal and making it successful, as compared to, say, for example, Joomla, which doesn't have really an equivalent kind of conference, or as compared to WordPress, which kind of has one, but not like this. Go to a DrupalCon, you'll get swept up in the enthusiasm and excitement of Drupal, which means that you got passionate community developing code for software, and that kind of a community is always going to beat a proprietary vendor any day. They're just going to have more people doing more stuff. The other thing I want to bring up about Drupal Commons as a platform for you if you're building a community site is that it's still Drupal underneath, which means that it's still extensible. Any one of those other 6,900 modules that you may want to put in, you can. So for example, I didn't show you a slide here, but the GSA, US General Services Administration, uses Drupal Commons. And they wanted to connect that to Salesforce.com for a bunch of different purposes. They also wanted to do web-based e-learning, as they needed something using the SCORM interface to talk to an e-learning system. They needed a bunch of things like that. There are modules for that in the Drupal world. All we had to do is grab those modules off the shelf, do their particular integration, like mapping the Salesforce tables to some table in Drupal that was the right kind of data type, and boom, we had all the web services interface already implemented for us between Salesforce and Drupal. All we had to do is match the data at either end. Very, very simple, very quick to do. If you want to integrate with some existing document management system, if you're in the healthcare world and you have a document management system like Documentum or Alfresco or something like that, those things expose their data through something called the CMIS interface or protocol. And there's a CMIS module for Drupal, so you can connect to those data stores. You want to integrate with Active Directory or LDAP for an intranet, or some kind of a marketing automation system if you have an externally facing site like we do. Those kinds of things, there are modules for almost anything you can conceive of in that area, which is great and makes it very open. And the best part about it is Drupal Commons is free. There is no cost to it. And it's a finished application. It's like getting a $500,000 piece of software for free. It's just free. There are no license fees. Now, how do we as a company make money off of it? And so you might rightly ask that. I'll tell you what we do. What we do is we make the deployment of that software easy. Now I'm talking about, not about Drupal Commons, I'm talking about Acquia, the company where I work. Acquia has, our core business is providing 24/7 enterprise-grade support to organizations that want to use Drupal, from the White House to New York Stock Exchange to all these people who essentially are saying, look, we are an organization, we want to have the phone we can pick up and call and hold somebody by the throat and say, fix it, 24/7. So that's our core business. We combine that with something we call remote administration. So for example, if you don't have a local admin and you don't want to be worrying about all the updates to every module that comes along, when you're in Drupal world and you're using a lot of modules, there's going to be people developing new versions of those modules all the time in the community. The question is, when do you deploy them? Are they ready for prime time yet? Somebody has to make those decisions. We can do that for you as a service. And then we also built a Drupal-tuned hosting platform in the cloud so that you can come and say, I need X 100,000 authenticated page views per month, or 2 million page views a month or something like that. And we'll give you the appropriate size slice out of a cloud and say, here's your Drupal-tuned infrastructure that has the right kind of database back end, the right kind of caching front end, the right kind of stuff turned on in Drupal so that it all works the right way. You put that together, and what it amounts to is almost like a SaaS service. The difference between what we'll provide you and what a SaaS service would be, like Salesforce or something, is that we let you customize it. Salesforce will let you customize it by doing things within their user interface, but if you want to put new modules in, change the branding, build some custom code, do any of that kind of stuff, you can, and then we'll operate it for you, completely hands-off. And all you have to do is operate your community. Participate in it, grow it, add content, add images, do all the things that you need to build momentum in your community. Don't worry about the underlying infrastructure. So that's how we make money, is doing that. We also provide things like, and by the way, if you don't want all those as a package, we're happy to talk to you about any one of those. Plus, by the way, we provide guidance, help, architectural stuff. If you want to put it in your own systems, how do you build out that kind of infrastructure that's appropriate for it? What are the best practices if you want to build a whole bunch of custom stuff in there? How do you do code management? How do you do release management? Staging, all that kind of stuff. So just to that's what we do for Drupal Commons, just so that you have a full picture of what Acquia, the company, does. Drupal Commons is really just that thing in the upper corner. We really provide a whole suite of services to make organizations effective with Drupal. Starting with the Acquia network I referred to when I was talking about the fancy search stuff. The Acquia network is really the foundation of what we do. It provides you access to our humans in terms of support and services. It also provides you access to all the value-added network services we have, like the search stuff. We have New Relic and Mobify and other guys like that are partners that help you with things like performance management, making mobile versions of your site, all those kinds of things which are value-added services inside the network that work with your site from our cloud-based services. That's the Acquia network. Then our hosting services, that platform as a service cloud, is where we provide that either developer class hosting in the dev cloud or managed cloud for people, enterprises who want the hands-off stuff. And then we also have something, just for the record, that is for Drupal what WordPress.com is for WordPress.org, the open source project. You can go to DrupalGardens.com and get a free Drupal site and just use it the way you use a blog site at WordPress.com. Then we can upsell you stuff. We want to make money on it, obviously, just the way WordPress does, but you can go get a free Drupal 7 site at DrupalGardens.com. And then we have the same kind of stuff I showed you before, our expert services. And then we think of Drupal Commons as an accelerator, because we don't sell this. What we sell is all that. But these are accelerators to help you get started in the Drupal world, and we do a variety of things to help accelerate Drupal. One thing to know, that even if you ended up inside of our infrastructure, what that would mean, what does that mean to be part of our support umbrella? There's a couple of principles that we think are important for us as a company. We talk about them all the time. One is open SaaS. Whether you're in our managed cloud, whether you're in our WordPress.com type thing called Drupal Gardens, whatever it is, if you want to take your site and go somewhere else, it's a one button click push. You get your entire code base and you get your entire database in a tar file. You can pick it up, move it to a new host, untar it, install it, and run it, and you're ready to go. No data loss, no migration hassles, no nothing. We believe in open SaaS. We want to do our best job we can to give you an infrastructure you would want to run all your stuff on. And if we don't make you happy, we don't want to make it painful for you to leave. It's open source. We like open source. It's an open world. Go somewhere else and be happy. But we think we can make you happy. Also, for those of you who are developers in the audience, we are trying to do things in a way that's optimized for the developer. Drupal comes from a developer community. We want to make sure that developers are taken care of, so we do a lot of things to optimize for that. But we also want to make sure that, since our core business is servicing organizations and enterprises, commercial and governmental organizations and enterprises, that we are that go-to place for those organizations. And then we really want to be across the board, everything from small sites all the way up to big. So we think by looking at the particular areas that you want to, particular areas for what kind of community are we going to build, and being very focused about that, then you can take a look at how does open source apply to that, and we think in the process create a great community. And that's that, and unfortunately it looks like I used up a pretty good chunk of the time. It's now almost 4 o'clock. I can show you a demo, but I think rather than do that, I'd stop and take questions for a few minutes, then I can show a demo later. Questions? Well, there's always questions. It's usually just who's the least bashful before you get started.
Are we at the question phase?
We are.
Anyone have questions at all? No? Not questions? We got 2 minutes for questions. Jay, I did not catch your presentation.
Oh, shucks, Todd.
Yeah, no, yeah, maybe, I don't know, a few things to do, but, and I really hate that I didn't, quite honestly. Well, you were targeted whether you realized it or not here for a reason. In regards to, earlier this morning, I apologize, I'm talking with my mouth full, I'm rude and disrespectful, I'm sorry. Jeffrey Hammond gave us some numbers.
Oh, by the way, the demo's going to be running in the background now if you want to just kind of double duty here.
I'm sure you talked about the White House, I think, at Dr.
Yep.
If I'm not mistaken, regarding the market percentages, the adoption rates. They are, I mean, I'm sure you've already gone over
I didn't give you percentages. There was a bunch of metrics in the beginning around the millions of sites that are built on Drupal. What you'll find out if you look at percentages is that about 85% of the web is built on what I would call a bespoke platform. Somebody took a raw programming language like Java or PHP or whatever and built an entirely custom website. No framework, no nothing, just entirely custom website. It might be built on JBoss with some Java files and things like that, but not kind of a definable framework like Drupal or WordPress or Interwoven or something like that. It's only about 10 or 15% of the web that's built on a framework. Of that, Drupal has the largest share outside of the commercial systems. So the commercial systems like Interwoven and so forth have a big share because they've been there a long time. People have been paying a lot of money for them. But amongst the people, outside of the proprietary systems, Drupal's the #1 platform.
and growing.
And growing exponentially. If you, by the way, are an unemployed programmer or a marginally employed programmer, you cannot do any worse in your career right now than to go be a Drupal god. There is more work in the Drupal business than anybody can handle. Everybody in every Drupal shop is hiring as fast as they can.
That's absolutely true. And I'm sure you told them about DrupalCon is a place, what,
By the way, there's the GSA, oh, missed it, sorry. GSA website was there.
last weekend in Chicago, right? I'm sure you're familiar with that. How many developers are there? Et
Mhm.
cetera. Okay. All right, very good. Well, I tell you what, I'll manage to get a few minutes. So, thank you very much, Jay. Thank you very much. Real quick, we're going to break for 10 minutes. So at 4:10, if you're coming back in this room, or regardless of the breakout session you're going to be, try to make every effort to be back in your seat by 4:10. Okay, because the next session only lasts 40 minutes. We're going to finish up at 4:50. Out in the exhibitor area at 4:50, we'll do the Samsung Galaxy gift giveaways. We will then network. There will be drinks. Well, you know what? There won't be drinks available then. The reception tonight starts at 5:30 at 1301 Gervais Street, which is about two blocks from here. You can walk up if you happen to be from 20 and know where you're going. We're also going to run shuttles from this building starting at 5:15. So between 5:15 and 5:30, we'll have shuttles going back and forth, buses. So feel free to ride those to the reception tonight. We'll have an open bar. We'll have heavy hors d'oeuvres from 5:30 to 7:30, and we're going to show you the new spot also. At the reception tonight, we're going to have two versions of feather sessions. One is healthcare. It'll be in a room by itself, so feel free to walk into that. The other is a women's group get together. We'll have B.L. Garvey. We'll have Mad Dog Paul. We'll have Worley, who you heard keynote over here and just gave a tech talk. We will have